Welcome, friends. I'm Gina Nicole, and this is the Goddess Channel. And in this space, I channel messages for you, and I bring through energy transmissions for whatever you need on your awakening journey. So I hope today you can just sit back, relax, let me do the work, and receive what's here precisely for you, precisely for this community that's listening right now. And if you're new to this channel, we always begin with the download of the week. And this drops in for me sometime over the course of the week from Spirit. And I write it down, and then I'm going to read to you what I downloaded so that you can receive that transmission today. Then we're going to go into an oracle card reading on the spot. And then we'll go into whatever additional energy wants to come through specifically today. And I do this through the Akashic Records. And I am an intuitive channel, also an energy healer. So my channeling, the way I receive it, this is not the case for all people, but channeling and energy work are one and the same for me. It's synergistic. Messages come through, energies come through, whatever needs to be transmitted frequency-wise through my energy and through my words is what comes in. And so you might see me as, different than some other channels, but there's quite a few channels out there who seem to operate a lot like I do. So just in case you're wondering what's going on here, but let's get right into our download of the week. Oh, and before we do that, it's nice if we can just share a beverage together in this space and hang out. So I've got my goddess mocktail. You can see there's some Bulgarian rose petals in there. My friend Deborah sent me, Deborah of Earth, Wind, and Flowers. We were on a call this morning and we made these mocktails and we put some flower essence drops in here too. Love it. All right, so let's get started. The message for this week that comes through from Kuan Yin is where the light cuts through the dark. And if you watched last week's video, you'll remember that I skipped over this message because there was a specific message that I really wanted to bring through last week that was out of order. But this message, I understand why, is perfect for today. So if you need some lightness, some relief, some support today, this message is going to be really great for you. All right. So in today's download, we're going to unpack a lot, but I believe that this is not only going to illuminate and unravel some things, but also give you tons of relief too, like I just said, which of course is always the goal. And we're going to leave you feeling lighter, freer, and more yourself by the end of it. This world can be confusing because when you start deconstructing things, it can feel like you find good and bad in almost everything, depending on what you're looking for. We can feel disoriented or even demoralized when we start to see the patterns of life playing out, and it feels like it's almost an entirely gray area. Everyone and everything, including ourselves, can seem disappointing on some level. And that can make it challenging to make it feel like we're making good moral choices because we can kind of even eventually get to a place of cynicism where it's like, well, maybe there aren't any. For example, someone can use logic to make a point that on some level seems reasonable or have some validity to it. Yet they're using that grain of truth to gaslight or manipulate or force an agenda, right? But rarely is it the whole truth. Even when we look at nature, it appears violent. And yet it's totally made up of innocent creatures just playing out their instincts, totally unconsciously. But for us, we're conscious in our choices. We can override instinct with will. And so where nature is just being nature, innocently, as human beings, we choose love or fear. There's really only two directions to go: connection or manipulation, control or freedom. What's complicated is, to some degree, many people aren't aware that they are conscious. They simply play the hand they've been given and act out the patterns of their ancestors, what's been passed down to them, and they only can I talk? They only divert from that predictable path when a life-changing event forces them in another direction. But those of us who have woken up to our own consciousness, our own freedom to think and choose and change, have often felt a bigger burden to carry up until now because we're aware, trying to make the best decisions, the most loving choices, while still being human and navigating fear and survival and everything else that an infinite soul experiences in a finite body. It's a lot. So as I say all the time, begin with giving yourself a ton of grace here. Okay, so what helps here? When it seems like there's so much shadow and so much murkiness and so much gray area, so much ulterior motive and masking and all of these other things, doublespeak, facade, being performative, like I said, wearing a mask. You know, it seems like there's a lot of that sort of self-serving, disingenuous sort of garbage in the world, right? It's choosing the light. And as generic and vague and cliched as that sounds, that's actually the answer. It's choosing the light because that's literally the only thing that cuts through the dark. Now, of course, that sounds nice, but how do we do that? We tend to make things catastrophic, making things bigger or more overwhelming than they actually are. So we have to start right now in the present moment and dismantle that because the present moment is all we have right now. So let me back up and say that in a little simpler way. We have to, in order to cut through the dark with the light, we can only do that in the present moment. We tend to catastrophize things, but that's because we're projecting into the future or we're pulling from the past, mostly both. But if we just sit in the present moment, nothing's overwhelming. We just do what needs to be done in this moment. So we don't have to be saddened by the past or made anxious by the future. Instead, we can just ask, what love is here now? What goodness is here now? With the grain of love, the grain of goodness in this moment, we can plant a seed of good, of love in the next moment. But we can only plant that seed in this moment. And it's going to blossom into the next. It multiplies. And so I've never channeled that before, but I feel that so deeply. With a grain of goodness in this moment, a grain of love in this moment, it plants a seed of goodness, of love for the next moment. It multiplies. It ripples out. So everything is here for you now, in this moment. That's where the gray area isn't, because you can choose love or you can choose the opposite of that. It's very clear. It's only where we start projecting and doing all sorts of weird stuff that it becomes unclear. So the question for you today is, what seed are you planting in this moment? And there are many ways to do that. There are many ways to plant goodness and love right here in this moment, beginning with the breath, beginning with positive self-talk, beginning with texting a friend something you love about them. You know, it's like, it could be anything. Making good food, nourishing food for yourself or a loved one. There's always a seed we can plant in this moment. And so that's what Kuan Yin brought in for us today. So thank you. Now let's go into an oracle card reading, and I have the Kuan Yin Oracle, and I'll put it in the description box below as well. And if you ever need timestamps, if you ever want to come back to these channel transmissions or the oracle message for the day or whatever, you'll see timestamps in the description box below as well. So I'm going to shuffle the cards, and if it's a little loud, just turn down your volume. I apologize, but usually the mic doesn't pick it up too much. All right, so let's get our oracle card for the day. What does this community need for their awakening journey today in highest light and love? And feel free to comment below how this is resonating for you, or any intention that you have for yourself, for the world. All right. Ooh, this is exciting. I really like this because messages are immediately coming through here. Okay, we've got the Book of Changes, and we've got Enter the Jade Temple. So actually I want to keep these both on the screen for now. Enter the Jade Temple. To me, that's giving us nourishment. Being able to step into the Jade Temple of Kuan Yin, it's giving us this safe space, this nourishing space, this space of the sacred feminine that we can reside in peace, tranquility. It's a place where we are healed, transformed, nourished, restored, upgraded. The Jade Temple, that feels really beautiful. And it's 11. It's a portal energy. The 11 makes up these two columns. It's a doorway. And so I really, really love that. And so imagine that Kuan Yin is here giving you access to this restorative space where your soul, your being is nourished. So it's an energy. But it would be a beautiful meditation to do as well. And maybe we'll do that. Actually, we're definitely going to do that at the end of this call. Book of Changes, the I Ching. This represents flow through change. And if you look at Taoist principles, the only thing happening in this world is a creative tension of opposing forces, a creative tension which creates change and movement. That's why we don't live in a static universe. We live in an ever-flowing, ever-expanding, ever-changing universe. The only constant is change, you might hear some people say. And we can be present through those changes rather than grappling with them. And so again, we're coming back to this theme of presence. Being present. Because when we project into the future, when we're stuck on the past and we're bringing past and future into this moment, we're discombobulated and we're being almost like controlled in a sense by change rather than just being in the flow of change, which can only happen in the present moment. We're letting change feel like it's a problem or something we have to resist or try to navigate, rather than just seeing change as an unfolding that is giving us this journey. And you can think of it as a river. And when we can just get on that river and flow with it, we're carried through our lives. You know, there's also an imagery of, bamboo in the wind. It's flexible. It just moves with change. I'm from San Francisco, so the imagery I get is we retrofit buildings so that when there's an earthquake, they move with the earthquake. And so it's the same concept for you as when you're present in the present moment, you're in your center, here, now. You have the ability to move with change because it's unfolding with you if you let it. Beautiful. Thank you, Kuan Yin. I loved that. I kind of feel like we're just whipping along today, but it feels totally relaxed. And so this is the energy I'm talking about, like time is not an issue. We're just in the flow of what's coming through for us today, and it's happening really rapidly. And though it feels like luxurious amount of time at the same time. So beautiful. Now let's go into that meditation in the jade chamber with Kuan Yin. And so you can close your eyes. Obviously, if you're driving or if you're not in a safe space, save this for later. But we're going to begin this meditation, so get comfortable. And you can even put this on as you're falling asleep as well. But if you feel comfortable, just go ahead and sit in whatever position you like to meditate in, or just be guided in. Not everyone loves meditation, I know. But this is going to be a guided meditation and energy transmission. So just let yourself receive, nothing to do here. Lay down if that's more comfortable. And so I want you to we're going to kind of just go through the chakras right now, and then we're going to enter the jade chamber. So just place your presence on your crown chakra, right at the top of your head. Just noticing the energy there. Now notice your third eye. Just noticing right in between the brows. Noticing the energy. Notice your throat. Notice the space of your heart. Just noticing. Notice the solar plexus right below the rib cage, in the center of your belly. Notice your sacral center, just below the navel. And notice your root at the seat of your torso, just beneath the tailbone. We're also going to notice a few feet below our feet, the Earth Star chakra. Notice you can feel the energy even beyond your body. It's all interconnected. And then go up and notice the Soul Star chakra. For me, I usually feel it about 12 to 16 inches above my head. Okay. And just breathing here. And now you may imagine Kuan Yin in your mind's eye, standing in front of you in beautiful robes. And she signals you gently to follow her. And you're walking through a beautiful, beautiful garden. You may notice a little bridge you walk over. And cross a small stream, surrounded by blossoms, fragrant air, gentle sunshine, birds singing, and a soft, warm breeze. You find yourself in a beautiful, grassy area of this immaculate garden. And she opens a door right in front of you in a rock wall. And you step through that doorway into this beautiful jade chamber. Yes. And it just feels so safe, so comforting. There's candles all around, and you're just surrounded by jade. It's this soft glow. And there's this beautifully sewn, super comfortable mat, the little pillow that she has you lay down on. And she takes one of your hands and she's holding it. And she seems to be doing some type of acupressure on your energy meridians. Now she has one hand on your hand and she's placing one hand on your forehead. And you may feel it right on your forehead, or you may feel it a few inches above your forehead, just hovering. Now the hand that was on your hand, she places just hovering above your chest. Or you may feel it right on your chest, right below your collarbones. Just receiving some energy work from Kuan Yin through the Akashic Records in this beautiful jade what's the word? The only word that's coming to me is cave, but it kind of feels like a cave. That's the vibe here. Now she's coming to be right in front of the top of your head. She's sitting right behind your head on her knees, and she places her hands on either side of your ears, just hovering. She's saying recalibrating and harmonizing. And it's giving me a very electromagnetic feel, just harmonizing, just calibrating, and also just releasing any sort of quote unquote static in your mental bodies. Good. If you need to shake out a little bit, feel free to move around. That's totally fine. Otherwise, just receive and just focus on the breath if you need a focal point. Now she's coming back to the other side and she's placing one hand on the opposite hand of what she was working on earlier. So if she was at your left hand earlier, now she's at your right hand. If she was at your right hand earlier, now she's at your left. And she has one hand on your hand and one hand on your forehead, or hovering just above. And we're just going to have the intention that whatever energy is shifting here is subtle, gentle, and will be integrated in perfect divine timing. Good. And the color green is really coming in, so the jade is giving a color sort of therapy experience as well. And this color green is really helping us fortify ourselves with heart energy in a really expansive and really elevated sense of the word. Jade implies a richness and a lavishness to it. And so that type of really potent, sort of luxurious, not in a money sense, but in a quality sense. That quality of color is what is coming in here now. Now she takes the hand that is in your hand and she places that hovering right above the throat. So you have one of her hands on your forehead, one just hovering right in front of your throat. Good. Just receiving. And a note on receiving, there's actually nothing to do. If you feel like, I don't know how to receive, I don't feel anything, I can't envision anything, just breathe. Notice your breath going in and coming out. That's the most receptive way you could ever possibly be. It's just breathing and letting your thoughts notice your breathing. Now she's taking both of her hands, they're just hovering right above your heart chakra. And she's sort of sweeping that heart energy down toward your feet. And now back right over the heart chakra, bringing her energy, earth energy, sky energy, moon energy, sun energy, celestial energy, nourishing your being. Now she's moving to right over your midsection, her hands hovering right over your abdomen. Good. You might notice your belly softening up a bit. Really relaxing way to breathe, if you're somebody that tends to have a little bit of anxious energy, is just breathing in through the nose for 4 counts. And then out through the mouth as if you're blowing through a straw for 4 counts or longer. And then just repeat. Now her hands are on your knees or above your knees. And now she's moving down to kneel right behind your feet and just placing her palms right on the chakras, right in the center of your feet. Or just hovering a couple inches away. You can envision it however it feels comforting to you. Good. And we're just going to stay here and breathe together and just let this all settle into our energy systems, all of our energy bodies, and our physical body, integrating this energy, releasing what needs to be released automatically. And when I say what needs to be released, it's any frequency that's no longer in alignment with us in any of our energy bodies. This can be emotional energy, mental energy, physical energy, all of it. Letting what needs to go, go. As Tasha Silver says, letting what needs to come, come. And just trusting Spirit that when we leave space for the divine, what we need arrives. I've never said that before. When we leave space for the divine, what we need arrives. Good. Just breathing here together, receiving. Good. Now, Kuan Yin is standing up, just smoothing out your energy field. Anything that needs to shake out is just shaking out like through a little sieve right out of the back of your body. Everything is just getting smoothed out all around you. Everything coming into flow, into harmony, filled with light. Just imagine all of your energy bodies radiantly glowing like a star. I think my Reiki teacher from back in the day, Anna Dorian, she's wonderful. She has a company called the Dreaming Otter. She once mentioned this in a meditation. I never forgot it. She said if you were to step outside of yourself and look back, you would see yourself shining as a star right now, radiant. I love that imagery. And just staying with the breath. Knowing that you are now complete. Kuan Yin bows to you, you bow to her. In your mind's eye. Gently in your mind's eye. Kneeling and getting up off of your mat. As Kuan Yin leads you out of the jade chamber into the soft light of the garden, through the blossoming trees, across the little bridge over the stream, and back into the dream of this day, here, now, present. Maybe wiggling your fingers and toes before you open your eyes. Present, here, in your body. All is well. Thank you, Kuan Yin. Thank you for being here today, co-creating this experience. Hopefully this is just what you needed. It's just what I needed. Good job. Take as much time as you need in this space because your body is really calm right now. Some water, some breath, some gentle movement if that feels good. Just give yourself a little time and space here. And that was kind of the message that came through, right? When you create space for the divine, everything you need arrives. And so that's what we're doing. Until next time, have a beautiful day. I love you.